Hey guys, this is Kathy Santo and we are here for another awesome 10 in 10. Today is Wednesday, June 21st, and happy graduation to all the graduates because I know this is a big graduation week. I know Highlands graduates today, I think a couple other schools, but just enjoy the day, have fun, and the future is going to be so exciting with all the kids going to college. Mine included, Elisa graduates tonight, so we're very excited. All right, so let's get right to the questions because I have a graduation to get to very soon. The first one today is when we go for walks. My dog likes to jump and bark at other dogs, but he's wagging his tail. Isn't he just trying to say hello? Well, he could be. And we have this awesome body language seminar tonight at 8 p.m. So if you come to that, we can show you what all those different signs mean from a dog. Now, a dog is a sum of its parts. So even though he's having a wagging tail, his body could be stiff, his ears could be back. He could give off a lot of different signs to other dogs saying he's not so happy. Now, barking combined with the tail wag could mean an alert. It could mean, hey, come play with me, but it also could mean, hey, your mother, right? And he's telling the dog to stay away from him. Now, the problem is if you don't understand what he's saying, and you misread it and say, oh, he's being friendly, and you take him to another dog, and then he tries to take the dog's face off. So you've got to understand what your dog is saying. Now, additionally, even if he was being friendly, I don't love that behavior. I don't let my dogs bark at other dogs. Number one, because I keep them really engaged with me. But number two, I don't want to have another dog feel like they're being threatened because my dog is barking at them. So I really try to keep my dog focused on me, and if I do see other dogs that my dog might be interested in, I suddenly become even more interesting. Hard to believe, but I do. And then I keep my dog even more focused on me. And I do it probably with asking for tasks like a hand target, formal healing, things like that. But it's important that you keep your dog engaged. Now, side note, a lot of people say, my dog gets so distracted on walks. And I say, I think that when you go for a walk, you clip the dog's leash on and you say, hey, all right, good, we're going to have this walk and you're going to have your dog experience from my waist down and I'm going to have my human experience from my waist up and I'll meet you back at the house. And then people get disappointed when their dog does act up and they tell them to sit and they don't. And that's because there's no connection. Basically, when you put that leash on, you hung up the phone on the dog. And so there's no way for the dog to really be in tune with you. So the problem is then you have to call the dog back up on the phone and you have to wait for him to pick up, meaning he's barking and not paying attention to you, and it's a little bit harder. So try to keep your dog engaged, and if you don't know how to do that, ask us, email us. We'll give you lots of fun ways to keep them focused on you and not other dogs. Okay, number 2. I'm allergic to dogs, but I still want one. Is there a dog that you could recommend that's allergy-free? Well, we have lots of students who have dogs who have allergies. Actually, sometimes we have students who have allergies, and they own dogs who have allergies. Isn't that weird? Yeah, I think like attracts like. It's very funny. We could write a whole new book on that, but that's much longer than a 10 in 10. Anyway, yes, there are breeds that are considered hypoallergenic, the Bichons, the Poodles, the Havanese, but what I would say to you is, it's just like a hypoallergenic soap, right? It's hypoallergenic, but some people use it and they still get a rash. I would say find a couple of dogs of that breed and see if you can hang out with them and see if you can just sort of see what happens to your body when you're with them. And you can go to a breeder or maybe you go to a dog show. Don't interrupt them when they're showing though. That's really, really important. Some people go to dog shows, they're like, oh my God, and they're touching the dogs and the handlers are going to bring them in the ring and they're going to be judged. I know it might sound silly, but it's really important. Don't touch the hair until they say, oh yes, you can come pet my dog. And it's never a good idea anyway to just grab and pet dogs, but especially at a show ring, these people put a lot of time into making the dogs look great, and I've had a lot of students go to shows and they reach out to pet the dog and they're very sternly told to keep their hands off the dog, especially the poodle ones. You think they get that way when they come out of the crate? Oh no, that is hours of drying and brushing and spray. Yeah, more time than I spend on my hair. Yes, actually. So, yes, that's my best advice. Go find some of these breeds and hang out with them and see if they impact you negatively. And if not, then that's the right breed for you. Okay, number 3. My dog and I are going to the beach house at the Jersey Shore, but she loves to pick up shells and other things with her mouth. I'm scared the shell might break and she might swallow it. Is there a way I can stop her from doing this? Well, first of all, when I go to the Jersey Shore, I like to pick up shells too. But I don't eat them. I put them in my pocket and I save them for later. So with a dog, it's a little bit harder. You want to give them something to have in their mouth. So my Goldens always carried around a bumper. And a bumper it's plastic with bumps on it. We use it in the field. They also have ones made out of canvas. And they're called K-Pop dummies. So anyway, something like that to put in their mouth. Obviously, if this is a smaller dog, they won't be able to fit a big retriever bumper in their mouth, so they can hold something else. Next, have a nice strong leave it command. So if you see your dog going to grab something you don't want them to have, like a shell or a crab, you can say, leave it, and they actually will leave it. Now, if you don't have any of those things and your dog isn't inclined to carry anything, then you could consider a gentle leader, because a gentle leader would give you the control to lift your dog's head up and close his mouth, so that if he tried to grab something that could be harmful to him, oh my gosh, I just thought of something, like beach glass, right? You don't want them grabbing that. You could control them. So also, a lot of times people have their dogs on the beach and they're not on leash. You must keep your dog on leash because the other dogs are the dogs that you worry about. And your dog probably isn't trained off leash, so you don't want to take that risk. I had a student when I lived in Florida. I lived there for 8 long dog years. So what? It was like 56 years worth of living in Florida. Yeah, it's a little warm. Anyway, she had her dog go into the ocean and start swimming after a seagull. And she was calling him, and he didn't come, and the seagull kept swimming out into the ocean. And we were frantic because we thought, oh my God, the dog is going to drown. He's never going to have enough strength or energy to get back to the shore. At some point, the seagull flew away, thank God, or he would probably be across the ocean. Or at the bottom of the ocean, actually. And he did come back, but when he came out of the water, he just laid flat on the beach and he was throwing up. It was awful. So, if you have a water dog and they're not trained to come when you call them, even in the water, keep them on a line. Make sure the line doesn't tangle if you let them swim. You have to hold it up high, right? Because if it's under by their legs, it's going to tangle them up and they're going to drown anyways. So, be careful. But if I was taking my really well-trained dogs on the beach, they would be on a leash, because I don't trust other dogs who might be off leash, and I want to be able to control the situation. So there you go. There's your beach question. I hope you get to visit the beach this weekend. I think it's really, really nice. Okay. My dog sometimes shakes his whole body and then goes back to what he was doing. What does that mean? All right. So what she's talking about is what we call a shake-off. So it looks like when your dog gets a bath, and then they shake really hard and all the water comes off. That's what we mean by shake. We don't mean like tremble shake. We mean body shake. So a shake-off is a dog's way of releasing tension. It's kind of like when you do, right? You're having a tense situation. You're talking to your mother-in-law. And you're just like, oh my gosh, I just can't believe this. And you want to just relax. That's what they do as well. So a shake-off is a really good way for a dog to release tension. And when you see that, you want to say, oh, good dog. What a good dog. We say good shake-off because it's us seeing the dog say, okay, I'm getting calmer with my situation and I'm ready to move forward. So too bad people can't do shake-offs. All right, number 5. Is there a pain reliever I can give my dog? What would you recommend? I would recommend that you talk to your vet, because there's certain breeds that have medications that don't work with them, like the herding group. I have border collies, so I know this. They're really quirky and sensitive to medicine. So if you have a dog who is in pain, please talk to your vet and see what they recommend, because they are your best source on questions like that. Maybe I'll get my vet, Jill, to come do a 10 and 10 with me. Oh, that's an awesome idea. Jill, if you're listening, do a 10 and 10 with me. Maybe next Wednesday. Okay, next, 7. My dog won't eat his food. Is there anything I can add to it to make him eat it? Well, probably, like, I don't know, stew meat, cheese, all those good things. But you really want your dog to eat independently of the things that you're putting in it. So the question is, why isn't he eating? Maybe he doesn't love his food. But don't go on that track and get a new food every week. Oh, he doesn't eat that. Oh, he doesn't eat that. Does he get a lot of treats during the day? Is somebody sabotaging you and giving him a lot of people food? There are so many reasons that a dog doesn't eat food, and you have to sort of narrow it down. Is it the right food? Am I feeding him too much? Because I've seen that too. People are like, my dog doesn't finish his bowl. And then I go and I look and I'm at the house and I'm like, wow, how many dogs are you feeding out of this bowl? They're like, oh no, he gets 5 cups a day. I'm like, but he weighs 12 pounds. You can't give him that much food. So make sure you're giving the proper amount. Now, here's another secret. The proper amount is not necessarily what they say on the bag, because they're trying to sell dog food, right? Yeah, they are. So start low and look at your dog's body weight and make sure that it looks good. They're not too lean, they're not too heavy, and increase or decrease the food as that happens. As far as making him eat it, definitely look into the fact that your dog might be having other sources of food that you don't know about. We have a student whose dog has been eating cat food, for a long time. So she removed the cat food, put it in a place the dog couldn't get to, and magically he's eating his own food now. We also had a student, who shall remain nameless, whose dog got into the other dog's food. It was in the pantry, nobody closed it, and basically he was sticking his head in there and free feeding for about, 3 or 4 days. And she took him to the ER because he looked like a Macy's Day balloon. He was huge. Actually, tape measured his abdomen, and when they did the ultrasound, they were like, it's just food. Has he had a lot of food? She's like, no, not at all. Goes home, sees the open bag in the pantry. Holy cow. Somebody got in trouble. Okay. Next, 8. We just moved to a new house, and my dog is peeing all over the furniture and on all the carpets. What should I do? You should confine your dog. So I love when students go to new houses because we can make everything better. All the bad habits they had at the old house, it's much easier to change the pattern in a new environment. So I'm not suggesting that you all move to new houses because your dogs have behavior issues, but I am suggesting that when you do move to a new house, you have the dog on leash and you're highly supervising him. It's not like when you say to your kids or your spouse, go explore the house. It's not like that. Exploring the house to him means peeing on every single thing that he can find, and he says, mine, 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 mine. Oh, and that's mine too. So what you need to do now is confinement. Gate him in the kitchen when you're there. Take him on a leash to field trip through the house, but keep your eye on him. Next, you must clean this up with the proper cleaning tools, and you want to get a cleaner that has some kind of a bubbling action. Now, we use Fission, and actually I think if you see a dog school using something all the time, you should probably buy it for your home, because I know you're saying you have a lot of pee, but you have not seen pee until you run a dog school. Dogs are peeing all the time, and we are like, glove up, put our suits on, and clean it instantly. You cannot imagine how much we clean over there. It is, it's crazy. And we have a night crew come in and clean down the whole place every night. So we're super sanitary over there. But Fission is the one, because all the other stuff we use, it didn't seem to really take the smell out. And that's what really gets you. The fact that the dog smells urine where he went and says, oh, hey, this is the place to go. We don't want them to have that smell. And don't try to cover it up with things that smell pretty, because the dog can smell through that. I mean, listen, a dog can smell cocaine hidden in chunks, blocks of chlorine bleach, right? Drug smugglers try to beat the dog all the time. The dog's sense of smell is beyond what you can even imagine. So they smell things really, really well. So what you want to do is get a really good cleaner like Fission to clean up your carpets and your furniture and do more supervision. And no, Fission does not endorse me. I don't get a thing from telling you that, except the satisfaction that your dog will stop hosing down your house with pee. Okay, number 9. What's a good tick repellent? I love to take my dog on hikes, but she always ends up with ticks. All right, a couple of things. Number 1, the traditional route. Frontline, Sentinel, there's probably a bunch more. You could do that, but still, ticks will get onto your dog and bite them. You'll just have to pull them off. Or when they're on the dog, they'll die eventually. So it still means your dog is bringing ticks into the house if they're hanging on. They'll die once they bite the dog, because that chemical that is in whatever you're using is poisonous to the ticks. But they have to drink the dog's blood, ew, sounds like a vampire, in order to die. So that's why the ticks that haven't bitten and haven't drank their blood, or just walking on them, will still come in your house. You can also do the natural route. You could do powders or sprays. There's a lot of stuff on the market. You really have to do your research. And some things are good for some people and some for others. I know people who would never use Frontline or any chemical on their dog. They say when they read the package and it says, don't get on your hands, and if you do, wash immediately, they're like, then why am I going to put it on my dog? Because they understand that everything that goes through your skin is filtered through the liver. There's other people who say, well, I do not want my dog to get Lyme disease, so I'm going to use every precaution possible and take my chance on the whole liver and toxic thing. So where I fall, somewhere in the middle. I think I mostly lean towards a holistic approach, but I completely understand why other people do something different. But what I will tell you, my best trick is putting a white t-shirt on my dog when I go hiking, because when the dog has a white t-shirt on, I can see every single stinking tick. Now, nothing to do with the dog's head. You can't put it, well, I guess you could put a white scarf on it, but they wouldn't like that. And you still have to check their legs, and you still have to check their butt and their tail, because they're not going to wear underwear, even cute boxers. So you do have to do some checking, but if you knot a people t-shirt over the dog and under his belly, at least you'll see the stuff that lands on the top of him and underneath him. Now, the biggest place that ticks like to go is to the head of the dog. They get on the back, they get on the legs, but they always crawl up to the highest point. So one of the things you need to do is make sure that's where you're checking, because that seems to be the biggest source of blood. The blood supply is really great by the head. And so that's where they're going to hang on and bite. So whenever I find ticks on my dogs, that's where I find them, around the neck and shoulders area. But check everywhere. I'm not going to tell you my terrible tick story. Maybe one day at school we have story time. It's a Florida tick story. Give you nightmares. Okay, last one. My new puppy throws up yellow stuff every morning. What's wrong with him? Well, yellow stuff is actually called bile, and that's all the stomach acid in his tummy, and it could mean a lot of things. Number one, you should take him to the vet. I'm not a vet. I just play one at the school, but for now, I really want to find out if there's a symptom. This is a symptom of something that's wrong with your puppy. If not, it could probably be easily fixed by giving him a little bit of a snack later in the evening. Now, some people cut off food and water at 5 or 6, so they're working on the housebreaking thing, and that's fine, but there are puppies like this who do need a little something in their tummy. One thing I've been really successful with dogs like this and puppies like this is making a little cooked oatmeal and giving them maybe a tablespoon or two, depending on the size of the puppy, before they go to bed. Now, oatmeal is a long-chain carbohydrate, which means it takes longer to break down in their tummy, so there's actually going to still be something in there later into the wee hours of the morning, and hopefully that is going to work for you. But anyway, make sure you go to the vet first, okay? Because I'm definitely not a vet, and I'd like to know what they think about this situation. So anyway, that's the end of our 10 and 10. Woo! Let's see our time. 17 minutes. That's pretty good. As always, it's a pleasure chatting with you. I love that you guys are joining us every Wednesday. And if you have questions, please let us know. Email me, throw them down in the comment section below. If you want me to elaborate on something that I talked about today, I absolutely will do that. But another beautiful Wednesday weather-wise, so enjoy your day. If it's graduation, enjoy the graduation. And I'll see you all back at the school. Bye, guys.